Hey guys, OG Albine here, bringing you guys my PMU Season 8 draft analysis. Now, the PMU this season, just like last season, Season 7 as well, is going to be doing this season on ORAS. So it's going to be a Wi-Fi league based off of, the Gen 6 metagame, and it's going to be played on Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So I figured that would be a pretty cool way to go into Gen 8 is kind of, take a retro look back on, the generation in which Draft League really got its start and, started to become what it is today. I thought that would be a lot of fun. We played in Season 7 as well, like I said, which was also ORAS, was a lot of fun. We actually made it to semis in that season, but we unfortunately lost there. So hopefully this season we can come back and potentially win the whole thing. We have a really, really cool team, and I'm hoping it pans out well and all that good stuff. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right in. As for draft spot, I don't really remember exactly where I was this season. I think I was somewhere around the middle, like 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there. No, actually I was towards the bottom. I was like 12, 11, 13 or something like that. But yeah, with our first pick, I actually wanted to just kind of grab what's best left on the board and something that I'm comfortable with, and whether it be Gen 6 or Gen 7, and I elected to go with Mega Medicham. Mega Medicham is a mon I've used many times before. I just recently used it in PGP, and it did a ton of work for me there. I've used Coco Medi a bunch of times, but unfortunately there is no Coco here in Gen 6, just Medi. So hopefully we can build around it well. It's a phenomenal breaker. It's a great mon to just build around. It doesn't really suffer as much from the first turn mega speed that Gen 7 has. If you don't know, Gen 7, as soon as your Pokemon Mega Evolves, it gets that speed buff that it has. So regular Medicham, I believe, is base 80 or base 70 or something like that. And it would be base 70 that first turn in which it Mega Evolves in Gen 6. In Gen 7, it would go right up to 100 where Mega Medicham is. But being that Mega Medicham has the access to Fake Out, we can always Fake Out and guarantee get our speed buff and all that stuff. There's a lot of mons that really do hurt from that in Gen 6, such as like Mega Beedrill and Mega Diancie. They're pretty much always forced to run Protect in a lot of matchups, especially Mega Beedrill. So I figured that Mega Medi is a mon that doesn't really care about that too much. Has access to Fake Out priority as well as Bullet Punch for fairies, which is really, really nice. And this mon just absolutely punches holes through teams. It has no switch-ins to the game, other than some bulky psychics and some really, really fat mons. But I think that we can potentially build around and, use that to our advantage and potentially, use that against our opponents and things like that. Because this mon absolutely loves momentum. Volt Turn, Baton Pass, all those kinds of things are obviously really, really nice for Mega Medicham. So with my next pick, I elected to go with Tornite. Now, Tornite is a great pivot. It's a great U-turner, getting Mega Medicham in on things that it would potentially, could potentially blow away. The mons that switch into Torn, like Steel types and, potentially like bulky Rock types, depending on the draft and all that stuff, really do not appreciate Mega Medicham at all. So I figured they work really, really well together. This mon's great offensively on its own, though. It has great coverage: Hurricane, Superpower, Focus Blast, Heat Wave, Knock Off, Dark Pulse, a bunch, Sludge Wave, a bunch of moves. Like I said, access to Knock Off, which is great utility, access to U-turn, and Tailwind, I believe, if we, want to get our Medi really, really fast, stuff like that. It can be really, really useful. It also has access to Taunt for fatter things, too. We can, taunt toxic things with our Torn, which is definitely something I could see myself doing against, like, those fat psychic types that want to come for Medi. And like I said, this mon is phenomenal offensively. It's a great pivot, and that's really what Mega Medicham really appreciates. So if we can get ourselves good mons to kind of punish the switch-ins to Mega Medicham and, just keep up offensive momentum versus our opponent, that's going to be kind of the goal here. And I've never used Tornite. I've always really, really wanted to draft it, but it never lasted me in round 2, and I've never really wanted to pick it up round 1. I don't think it's round 1 mon, but it's still a phenomenal tier 1, and I'm really excited that we are actually able to pick it up here to complement our Mega Medicham. Next up, speaking of complementing Mega Medicham, we grabbed Bisharp. Now, Bisharp is a really, really good mon with Mega Medicham. They cover each other pretty much perfectly offensively. Bisharp destroys those fairy types and those, especially those bulky psychics. And the fact that Baton Pass is allowed in PMU, Baton Pass Mega Medi into Bisharp to track those bulky psychics, is definitely a very, very viable option here. Just to remove those to where they can just kind of go in and they take on, similar things. And like Bisharp doesn't, bulky fighting types kind of switch into Bisharp, and Mega Medicham absolutely eats those mons alive. So, I figured that they cover each other really well. This is also pre-nerf Sucker Punch because it is Gen 6. If you didn't know, in Gen 7, Sucker Punch, I believe, is base 70 power, but in Gen 6 it used to be base 80, so that makes it even stronger. Has access to Swords Dance, has access to Rock Polish. It is a rock type, it's not a rock type. It also has access to Stealth Rocks. Bisharp is not a rock type, but has access to Stealth Rock. Doesn't always want to run it, but I figure it can in, you know, very niche matchups, which really need rocks, and our other rockers don't have the best matchups. Like I said, it's a bulky psychic killer, it's a fairy killer. It's a great setup sweeper, potentially for endgame, just spamming Sucker Punch and knock off for things that are slower. Iron Head as well. And yeah, I figure Bisharp will be a really good addition to the team. We also have Torn to pivot into fighting types. I want to potentially threaten our Bisharp right here, so I figure we actually support really well in our first 2 picks, and I hope it can do a lot of work here in PMU. Next up, we grab Nidoqueen, and if you know me, I love Nidoqueen. It's my absolute favorite ground to use in the format. In Tier 3, I think it gives you so much value. It's stupid bulky. It's a grounded poison, so you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You get your obligatory ground type in, your obligatory grounded poison, so you don't lose to T-Spikes. Has access to T-Spikes in itself, so if you face a team without a grounded poison, we can set those things up and really ship down mons, and that really, T-Spike support with Mega Medicham is obviously really nice, being able to fake them out, and then they take Poison Chip, and then they take more Poison Chip, so, you know what I mean, it's a really good option in the right matchup and stuff like that. It also gives me another rocker, a more reliable rocker. Bisharp, like I said, has rocks, but does not really want to run them all often, in all honesty, so it gives me a very reliable rocker. And it's a really good mon offensively, despite having very mediocre stats. What are they exactly? It's, let's see, 92 attack and 75 special attack, which isn't anything really to write home about, but that compounded with Sheer Force and its stupid coverage, Earth Power, Fire Blast, Ice Beam, what else is there? Shadow Ball if we want to run that. Sludge Wave if we're going for damage, stuff like that. Sucker Punch has access to Super Power, Super Fang, Thunderbolt. You know, this mod has just so many options. I absolutely love using it. This is probably like my 10th, or at least my 10th time drafting this thing. And I know it's going to put in work as long as we play well and use it right. So really glad we were able to grab Nidoqueen here. Next up, we grab Politoed. Now, I've never drafted Politoed, and I've never really drafted a rain element, so I figured this would be a cool draft to try that out. It gives me a really bulky water type. It gives me rain support for Torn. Being able to never miss my Hurricane as long as rain up is phenomenal, because that move hits really hard, but having it miss is really unfortunate, and not something I want to mess around with as much as possible. And I wanted to draft a sort of a rain element to my team. Like I said, this is probably going to be one of my last draft leagues before Gen 8 starts, and I've never drafted rain, so I figured it'd be cool to have a rain element. I'm not going to draft a full rain team, obviously. I don't have Mega Swampert, and I have Mega Medicham, and I have like Bisharp, Nidoqueen as my Tier 2 and Tier 3. So I want a small rain element to where I can bring it to a matchup and, you know, really threaten my opponent and make them prep for it, but I want a team that can still function without rain and do well like that. So I figured Politoed would be a fun draft pick here. Pelipper does not have Drizzle in Gen 6, so this was the only rain option, so we're going to be the only team with auto rain. Other teams can obviously set it up with mons that no rain dance, but Drizzle is obviously your best bet when it comes to setting rain and all that stuff. But yeah. Next up, we grabbed Helios. Speaking of mons that can kind of benefit from rain, Helios is definitely one of them with access to dry skin, so when we're in the rain, we get a little bit of residual recovery, which can help if we're like Life Orb, or even if we're like a bulky sub Helios cadet. Something I really want to try is like sub Toxic Helios in the rain. I feel like that would be a lot of fun to bring. And it also gives us another water immunity with dry skin, which is really cool for things like Nidoqueen. It gives me a fast electric type around that 110 speed tier, so those 110 mons aren't as likely to run, you know, Modest or Adamant or anything like that versus me, which is obviously really right and really nice. And then it gives me more momentum. It is an electric type with Volt Switch and U-turn, which is really nice. Not being stopped hard by those ground types trying to click Volt Switch is obviously great. Getting in our Bisharp for free, our Mega Medicham for free, our Torn for free, just getting teams in the cycle where we're just clicking U-turn and, you know, Volt Switch and all that stuff is obviously really nice. Also, access to Surf, which is going to hit really hard in the rain, so ground types aren't as sturdy of a check versus us, which is obviously really nice. And then normal spam is actually pretty nice with Mega Medicham, being able to remove rock types and steel types, or if we can Volt Switch or U-turn out on those things into our Mega Medicham, they're obviously not going to be around for a long time, because our opponent's most likely going to have to sack the Mega Medicham every time it comes in for free. So that's I feel like Helios is a very good pickup for the team here. You know, gives me a good fast electric type with and without rain. It benefits and still does well. So yeah. Next up, we drafted Dragonite. This is another mon I have never tried in the league format before, but I'm a big fan of Dragonite. I love the mon. It gives me setup, which I lacked besides Bisharp. It gives me fast setup. Like, you know, I can use Dragonites, obviously, to bulk my speed. I can use Agility to just get +2 speed really quick for, like, a weakness policy setup or something like that. Multi-scale is obviously a phenomenal ability. If we can keep rocks and hazards off our side of the field, we're pretty much guaranteed to live any one hit and either throw off a big hit in return, or, you know, set up a Dragon Dance or Agility or something like that. It also can go mixed or special, and special D-Knight with Hurricane in the Rain is a potential really cool option there. It gives me another flying type. Flying spam is obviously really nice against opposing teams. And it's also very deceptively bulky. We can run really like Fat Fish Def or Spadef Dragonite sets with like Thunder Wave and stuff like that. And if you didn't know, Thunder Wave is a very good move in Gen 6. It's good in Gen 7 as well, but in Gen 6 it's 100% accurate. Instead of halving the opposing Pokemon speed when they're paralyzed, it brings it down to 25% of what it usually is. So it's even better. It makes even our slowest mons outspeed theirs. So it gives us really good speed control in that matter. Access to extreme speed. Just a really cool mod. I know our hazard control isn't the best at this point. Our only defogger up to this point is going to be Dragonite itself, because Torn does not get defog in Gen 6, unfortunately, so there's something we're going to have to play around, but I figured it'd still be a fun mod to try, and there wasn't much left in Tier 1 that I really wanted, and everything else I wanted in my draft allowed me to grab a Tier 1, so I figured, hey, why not try Dragonite? It gives me a Dragon type and a potential sweeper and all that stuff, so yeah, that's going to be D-Knight there. Next up, we actually grabbed a form of hazard removal in Kabutops. Now, Kabutops is pretty much going to be a dedicated rain abuser system, allowing it to double its speed and throw off really strong waterfalls and stone edges. Has access to Aqua Jet and Swords Dance and stuff like that, so SD in the rain can, you know, potentially be a really good late game win con. Lots of teams really don't switch into the dual steps of water and rock very well, so if we can set up that rain and get Kabutops in and set up an SD, it can just be GG in a lot of matchups. Most teams don't take on the combination of water plus rock very well at all. It also has access to Rapid Spin, which gives us another form of hazard control, which is nice for our D-Knight. If we really want to go for a D-Knight win, we can obviously, you know, bring Kabutops with Spin or something like that to guarantee get those rocks away and keep them away potentially. It gives us another Stealth Rocker in itself. Just a really cool mon in niche matchups. It can do really well, so I figured it would be pretty nice to pick up as a Tier 4 and as a Rain Abuser and all that stuff. So yeah. Next up, we ended up grabbing a Selgor, which is another Tier 4 here. Very fast. I believe it's base 145 speed. Let's see, before I sound dumb. Yeah, base 145 speed. It gives me spikes, and I really wanted the spikes option. I figured, you know, hazard stack with Mega Medi is obviously a really good idea, as well as Bisharp and stuff like that. Putting them in a range of, you know, Fake Out, Sucker Punch, stuff like that. I figured that'd be really nice. So now we have, it has spikes and T-spikes. We have T-spikes on the Queen, and we have a fair few amount of rockers. So we can potentially get up, you know, all hazards besides hit sticky webs versus our opponent, which is really nice. It gives me something to outspeed. It was really fast, like base 130 mons that can potentially outspeed Torn. So our team does have good speed control in itself. Has Hydration, which is an ability that can potentially be used in the rain. I'm probably not going to run Hydration as Selgo very much. I'm not worried about it being status or anything like that, in all honesty. I'll either run Unburden or Sticky Hold like 90% of matchups at the very minimum. But it's a nice option to have. Gives me U-turn, so even more momentum. It can be nice offensively in certain matchups, and like I said, the main allure is to give us some more hazard support, which is really nice for the rest of our team. Next up, we with our next two picks, we do have to grab two Tier 5s, and I wanted to grab mons that fit the team but had very good value in Tier 5, and forced prep on my opponent's end. They didn't think you know, it's just a meme Tier 5 pick that I grabbed for fun. It's something that could potentially come to a game, and they do have to take it into account. First of which being Cradilly. Cradilly gives me a grass type. It's not a ground resist because it is part rock, but it gives me a grass type nonetheless. It is very bulky, has recover for reliable recovery. It's another stealth rocker, and it's another water immunity, and I think having two water immunities on the team is really nice for mons like Nidoqueen to do very well and stuff like that. Especially when we have rain, opposing strong water types can be very scary, and the fact that we have you know, a mon to switch into those is really nice, you know, for us obviously. And yeah, like I said, very bulky mon, gonna give me rocks, give me a water immunity and stuff like that. Just something that my opponents have to keep in mind while they prep and all that stuff. And then lastly, we grabbed Magmortar. Now, Magmortar is going to be our fire type. Fire types aren't necessarily needed in the draft, but they're always nice. And if I don't want to bring rain 1 week, I think having a fire type is really nice just to help me break through grasses and steals and things like that. Magmortar hits very hard. It's a great wall breaker, great mixed wall breaker as well. Has a phenomenal move pool. Like I said, it has base 125 special attack and base 95 attack, so it can go mixed pretty well. Has a pretty decent Spadef set as well, so AV Mag is a really good option. Access to Flame Charge, access to Mach Punch for priority, and access to Belly Drum as well, actually, I believe. Let's see, Belly Drum. Yeah, it does have access to Belly Drum, so it gives me a potential sweeper in Belly Drum Mag. Belly Drum Flame Charge can definitely win games in itself, like Sub Belly Drum is another option too. Access to Power Up Punch. I don't think it has anything to set up on the special side. Does it get workup? I don't know if it gets workout. Some ones get workup and some not. Nope, it does not. But still, I figured it'd be a good, out of tier 5, this thing has immense value. I really don't think it should be a tier 5 ever, even in Gen 6 where it's not as good. It's just insane value here with the coverage this thing has, and you know, just the raw base stats that it has. I figure it could be a really good option. And yeah, so that is going to be our PMU Season 8 team. I'm really excited to use it. It definitely has its flaws. For one, our hazard removal is Dragonite and Kabutops, which can be very scary depending on, you know, the type of team we play up against. And we are very, very Edgequake weak. The combination of Earthquake plus Stone Edge really does run through our team. Offensive grounds are going to have a field day versus us offensively. Defensively, I'm not going to appreciate us as much because we do have that rain element. But mons like Lando T and stuff like that absolutely run through us. Even more so than they do against most teams. And speaking of that, we actually play a Lando T team week 1, so that'll be fun to see how we can, you know, circumvent and like stop that thing from absolutely just running through us. But yeah, if you guys do enjoy the team or have anything you would change about, or you know, just let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Again, I think it's a lot of fun. If you guys are excited for a season of Wi-Fi battles on Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, be sure to subscribe so you can stick around and catch those as they go up every week. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later.